Growing what's precious to you.
My precious, my precious.
Then I did think of that in that movie.
Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, in case anyone was like, my
Yeah.
bad invitation.
You're Cathy at the Intimacy Dojo.
I am Cathy at the Intimacy Dojo, and you're Rick at thrivingnow.com. And working with you and each of you is very precious to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you.
one of the reasons I love when you suggested this topic, Rick, I love this because I think, one, so many of us get caught up in the day-to-day, like, our survival brain gets in there and we see all this stuff. We've got to keep up with the Joneses and we've got to get all this stuff done. And we just kind of get on that treadmill where we're trying to get stuff done. And we forget to stop and take a breath and say, am I actually going in a direction? Am I actually working towards what matters to me versus what I've been taught? Like it really is brainwashing. Media, modern marketing and media does brainwash us. Our survival brain does really care about status because status matters if you have a tribe of 30 people and there's no one to take care of you and no one cares about you, or you're not seen as influential or important. It really does. Our survival brain goes, oh my goodness, I'm not safe. So when we're told over and over we should look like 1 in a billion people that don't actually look like that have also been airbrushed or given scripts and gotten to rehearse things over and over. Like our survival brain is very much like being inundated with, we're not good enough. We're not like high status. And so it's trying to get up the ladder all the time. And a lot of times I think we're chasing what marketing is telling us to look after or what a good friend might be looking at versus what's really true to us. So I think you're making sure that the precious we're after is really a precious that's good for us.
So we're going to be asking some questions and we're going to tune in. And then we're going to do a guided meditation, an opportunity for us to come into sync together if you want to participate in that. And then we're going to check in and see if the questions perhaps changed. We're going to be looking at what happens in our body as we tune into what's precious to us that we would like to grow. And
to have a pen and paper just to jot stuff down, because a lot of times this is fleeting. And our brain actually tries to protect us sometimes from things that matter a lot because it's vulnerable. Like if I really tell you and me what I want and then I don't do things to get there, then I can pretend that I never really wanted it versus so I think our brain just kind of erases it sometimes on us.
Mm-hmm. So if the prompt for this call, growing what's precious to you, and the first question, what is precious to you? If you arrived at something or some things or some experiences or some relationships, some aspect of life, we invite you, there's a chat window. I think on phones it's under ... If you're on the telephone, tune into it for yourself, perhaps write it down. And if you're willing to share it in the chat, on my screen, it's under the ... of more on my computer. There's something that says chat. And so if you came with something and you'd like to share it, feels right for you to share it right now. And for some reason, I can't actually tap in my own chat window.
That's not good.
Isn't that strange?
I can. I'm testing.
Mine just beeps at me. What's up with that?
Communication is important to you and access.
Oh, there it is. Yes, engagement and communication.
Co-creating dance. Yum. Yeah, I love that. And realize that this can take some courage. If you're feeling some resistance to sharing this, we invite you to just take a nice, slow, deep breath. And notice that you're with friends here. Like no one, I think that I can speak for everyone here. No one here is going to use this against each other. A lot of us have had things used against each other. Like I remember telling my mom early on that I really wanted to be really good on horses. And then every time I went to have an extra sandwich or something, she would like, well, that's going to get in the way of that. Like it was just like I was bludgeoned with it. So like that's not going to, and I don't, some people might have had similar experiences where people kind of held it over their heads or used it as evidence for something. But this is a safe space where we can actually share. And the courage of writing it down just makes it a little more real, more tangible. It helps us manifest it and be more aware of where we may have blocks too. So friendship, connections, creativity, nature, finding work that is engaging, work for quotations. Thanks, Gail.
And so before we do the meditation together, I'd like to invite us to ground. And a very simple way of doing that is to let gravity do a little bit more of the work of holding us to the earth. Just a little bit more of the work. Let it pull and relax your tissues just a little bit more. As soon as you start feeling that, we're not trying to be a puddle of utter relaxation, just letting gravity take a little bit of that, and take a breath for yourself. With the next breath, allow your presence to rise. And by that, just bring more of you here, more of you listening, more of you tending, more of you tuned to the group that we have together. And you can make a sigh. It may be helpful to you, even though if you're looking at a screen full of images and non-images, you may not see anything. If you're on the telephone, you're not seeing faces. Take a moment and let your imagination feel the presence of someone else who holds something of their own precious that they want to grow by your right shoulder and by your left shoulder and by their right shoulder and their left shoulder. Let your imagination fill in the energy of the circle for a moment.
I love that. That feels really warm to me. And if you want to take that a little further, just imagine that you're exchanging glances with other people in this circle. Just like that kind of like, I'm here for you and I'm excited for you. And yeah, we're doing this together kind of. Just our brain doesn't know the difference between our imagination and what's actually there. So just imagining that clearly will help you tune into a different place. And we really do have an amazing circle of people from all over the world right here, gathered together by common intention.
And please know that our invitations are intended to be not coercive. If we ask you to share, saying no to that is beautiful. Thank you.
Totally okay.
And that our intention is to hold a space to support the growth. When I say growing what's precious, do you think about that image, the seedling, and maybe what you want to grow is already a magnificent tree or being of yourself, or whatever it is, but there's a feeling of growth that is an expansion, an increment. It's not a leap or a bound. It's a growing. And to me, there's a certain natural feeling that I'm inviting for myself as well, in particular. And Cathy, you offered to lead us in a guided meditation around this as well.
So I invite you to, if it feels good to you, close your eyes and take a nice, slow, deep breath in. And the next breath you take in, imagine that you're drawing. Scientists know there's all photons and neutrinos and everything whizzing around. Imagine that you're drawing all the energy of what you most want to have in your life, like drawing that in with that breath and then it nourishing all your cells. So another nice deep breath. Just imagine each of your cells are absorbing what they most need from this. One more breath of doing that. And let yourself sink into your body a little more, be present. We live in our heads so much. It's okay to inhabit your body. It's okay to feel your butt in the chair and notice that gravity is supporting you. You don't have to hold yourself up. And then notice your feet on the floor. They're held by the universe with love. They're just there, holding you connected to the earth, and you can just be there with them for a moment. And let's just breathe down to our feet. So each of you are tuning into something that was really precious to you, that matters to you. And one way we protect ourselves often is by keeping it general. So, and also you didn't have a lot of time to type, but like creativity, engagement, presence, friendship. What do those look like? If you can imagine that you walked into this beautiful meadow, there's a stream over on the right, you can hear it gurgling, and maybe some cattails rustling slightly in the wind. There's this beautiful meadow filled with beautiful flowers and grasses and some butterflies and grasshoppers, and maybe a nice big tree over one side to provide some shade if you feel the sun's getting a little warm. And imagine in this beautiful, safe space that the thing that you most want, the thing that's most precious to you, can approach you in a form that you find really delicious and that you can actually interact with it. So just see if anything approaches you. And what this will do is maybe let you get a little more specific. So I love helping people. One of my things is collaborating and helping people, but I'm not really interested in helping golfers or dentists. Like, they're great people, it's just not my jam. So a lot of times when we say what is precious to us, we're not necessarily tuning into the fine nuances. And if we can just invite this to come forward, and maybe it looks ambiguous to us, maybe we're not really sure, but try it on. Like, how would you like to dance with this energy in the world? What would it look like? And the more specific we can get, sometimes the easier we can create it. We can put energy directly towards that rather than kind of spraying it everywhere. So just take a gentle breath and imagine that what's precious to you also finds you precious. And it's however you envision it in that meadow is out there holding out its hands, and you get to decide together. You get to take its hands and decide together how you'd like to express. And you can just feel the wind, the gentle breeze in this meadow is blowing away all the social stereotypes and all the shoulds and oughts. And the sun is gently warming you and letting you be really present with this other energy that you most want to have in your world, that will make you feel so fulfilled and delighted and energized. And just notice what you feel in your body. Notice if there's any tensions or fears or resistances. And notice if there's any delight or joy or fulfillment. One of the things Rick talks about the most, I really love when he talks about this, is just changing our trajectory just a little bit. If we want to go we're in LA, we want to go to New York, and then we change our mind and we want to go to Florida, we don't have to stop the plane and go back to LA. We just have to change the angle just a little bit, and we'll end up in a very different place. So ask this being, this energy that's there to co-create with you, what can we do that's just a little bit different? What's the next little change we can make, an incremental change we can make that will help us get to this place where we both are getting to express ourselves, we're getting to dance together. And if it feels right to you, I invite you to imagine that you're gently hugging this warm energy, this thing that you most love, the most precious thing. And it's hugging you back with this gentle, loving tenderness and delight in you. And as you hug and breathe together, you're gently melding to each other. You can almost feel it sinking into you as you're sinking into it. And it's this golden light that's infusing all of your cells and all of your nerves and every bit of you with this lovely energy. And it feels so happy to have new space a new home with you, a place that it can help you grow and become whatever it is you want to be. And with this next breath, just imagine it's kind of clicking in place. And it's now part of you. Very, very happy part of you. Take one more deep breath. And let your awareness come back to your feet and your butt a little more. Notice your body and how it feels. Maybe stretch your neck if that feels good. Just wiggle your body a little bit. And then just get more and more present with where you are right now. And as you gradually open your eyes and see all these people that took this journey with us and did this silly thing together, the circle that we're created all around, people filled with love and creativity and whatever it is that was most precious to them, reclaiming it to themselves. And just notice the space. And if you have anything you want to share, you can either write it down on your piece of paper or if you want to type it in and share, like if you had any big ahas or if there's any resistance. Like sometimes I'll feel some tension, like if I do that, if I'm really effective at what I do, more people might see me and that might be scary, or people might judge me, or like sometimes there's fears that come up, and we'd love to do. Rick and I glad to lead some tapping on that too, to like make sure you can fully embrace.
Thank you. Give people a moment to sit with that. I'm also feeling drawn that if you're on this live and your heart is saying, I would like to be witnessed in this, in what I want, there's a way to raise your hand on if you click participants, there's a raise hand, or should be. And also you could put that in the chat. If you're on the phone, it's *9.
Cindy, that's really sweet that your daughter called just as the precious energy coming towards you. And then Jean, your guardian angel, I hope you get a lot of the answers you've been searching for. It's beautiful.
So I had said, the circle is open and I feel drawn. I said engagement, and having come to that, I think when I put this together, the word engagement came, but without, like Cathy said, without something that felt particularly specific. And I noticed that my little increment of dance was to just be slightly more open to people as I was around and through, and it made a difference. I think the deeper thing that I'm aware of is that I feel like my artistry requires engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put out a podcast this morning, and in that image there were certain people there, people I know are part of the circle. Some of you are here on the call. Thank you. And there were like 3 or 4. I think it started with 3 and then there was 4. And the engagement felt like this, that there's something alive in me and then I bring voice to it. And these beings take that in and feel it and bring voice to what their response is, their wisdom. And I don't mean engagement as in click like or heart. I mean something where the interaction is a sharing and expression of wisdom. And I use that term, what it means to me in the way of engaging is that we've taken in something, and then it's that thing is tapped into something inside of us. And that in that engagement, it brings us closer. There's more understanding. There's an expansion of an idea, an expansion of an intention. You can feel more resonance. It is hard to send a message out to the world. It's hard to send a message out to 10,000 people on a mailing list. It feels so much easier if I've got 3 or 4 people who I just know I'm going to get some engagement from. And like when I say about growing engagement, right at the end there, another person joined, a person I didn't even know. And they joined as a member of that engagement circle. And we can see people out there doing their artistry, and maybe, there are people that what they really are nourished by are likes. But I know for me, appreciation is nice, but the deeper engagement is something that comes truly from each of the unique people that are choosing to engage.
Mm-hmm.
And the concrete step is to continue to invite, to feel how the tight knitness of the current engagers can open and another person join, and easily, gracefully, with a sense that this isn't circles. One of the things I love about the geometry of circle is that it expands,
Yeah. I love what Dave said. The dance can be slower, even more sensuous, without having to keep step with the music. So, yeah. We have a raised hand, so we call in Noreen.
Yes. Hi, Noreen. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Happy belated birthday, Cathy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Wow. I've been wanting to grow because I'm so geographically distanced from my children, I want to grow kind of a we space over outer space, So, kind of co-created. I just love this idea of getting what you want to happen with the people you want it to happen with. So, yeah, that's what I have been wanting to grow. That's precious to me, and I'm not quite sure what that next little step is. Because within all this, there is fear, like you brought up, Cathy, fear that I don't know enough to facilitate or help get this family connection more connected. That's all.
When you think about it, where do you notice the kind of tension or fear in your body?
The fear?
Yeah.
I guess kind of my neck starts to freeze up.
Can you just be with your neck for just a minute? Maybe put your hand there if that feels good to you, and just like breathe in, breathe out, noticing that tension. Is anything in particular there? Like, what is the thought? What's going to happen?
Well, my neck really appreciated the touch, the my hands there. I don't know, and that fear is really having reactions of, oh, Mom or Nona, she's such a woo-woo, or she thinks she is, and aren't we fine just as, isn't everything just fine anyway? Yeah, and I just don't know if I have the courage of my convictions to.
Can we do a little tapping and see if it resonates for you?
Sure.
Karate chop. Even though I think this would make things better.
Even though I think this would make things better.
Who am I to say?
Who am I to say?
And they seem pretty content.
They seem pretty content.
And I'm afraid they're going to judge me.
And I'm afraid they're going to judge me / ridicule me, tease me.
Nana is so woo-woo.
Nona.
And what if who I am is just right?
But what if who I am is just right?
What if some of them might ridicule me or judge me?
What if some of them might ridicule or judge me?
Maybe they're just scared.
Maybe they're just scared too.
This is new stuff.
New stuff.
Really vulnerable.
Whew, really vulnerable.
Top of the head, and I appreciate my courage.
I appreciate my courage.
Eyebrow, I'm considering being vulnerable to the most precious tribe I have.
I'm considering being vulnerable to the most precious tribe I have.
Side of the eye, and inviting them to do this strange stuff with me.
And inviting them lovingly to do this strange stuff with me.
Under the eye, but what if I'm wrong?
But what if I'm wrong?
Under the nose, what if I'm right?
What if I'm right?
Chin, what if that doesn't matter?
What if that doesn't matter?
Collarbone, what if it will resonate with some people and not with others?
What if it will resonate with some people and not with others?
Under the arm. And maybe some people need it and some people don't care.
And maybe some people need it and some people don't care.
Top of the head. In every tribe, there are people out in front.
In every tribe, there are people out in front.
Eyebrow, and it's scary to be out in front.
It's scary to be out in front, especially when you didn't even realize that's where you've kind of been.
How did I end up here?
How did I end up here?
Under the eye, but it's helped me so much.
It has helped me so much.
Under the nose. And these people are of my lineage.
And these people are of my lineage. They're of me.
Chin, so some of this may help them too.
So some of it might help them too.
Collarbone. What if I said, I don't know if this is for you, but I'd like to share?
What if I just said, I don't know if it's for you, but I would like to share.
Under the arm. Under the arm, it's really precious to me.
It is really precious to me.
Top of the head, and I love you all very much.
And I love you all very much.
So I want to share.
So I want to share.
Nice slow breath.
Oh boy.
How does your neck feel?
It feels good. I feel a lightness, a lighterness. And yeah, feel good.
It is really like, I'm always like, it's weird because family, like when I work with people here or in other areas, like people like want to know, and I go to my family, I'm like, oh, it's just Cathy. Like there's a lot of like they've actually, one of my family members found out about EFT and they were going to someone who's brand new to EFT, and I'm like, that's great. Do you want a few tips or free things? And like, oh no, this person's got it. You can't know it. You're like very dismissive because they, like
yeah.
But a few of them have listened.
No, I thank you for touching on points that I wouldn't have, or I wasn't thinking along those veins, and it just makes sense, and actually it makes common sense, which is something I think doesn't really exist too much anymore.
So yeah, it seems that you have to look for it a little harder sometimes, but yeah. So I think if you can, like if you feel that tension, like just maybe comfort your neck or wherever it is in your body. Yeah. And just, this is scary. Like, and sometimes we end up out in front and we didn't even mean to, and we're like, wait. But I think they're in, a tribe that's growing, there's many fronts to it. It's not, just, but I do like to think that I'd like to share with my tribe the things I learned, because that's how, I think there's always, my pet theory is there's people that are kind of slower to change in a certain area, and there's people that are out ahead, and that kind of gives a balance. Like, so there's not sporadic change that's not useful, but it's not too stagnant. You want to have that mixture in there, and then it's okay for the people to say, oh, Pa, that's bad stuff. Eventually, if it's really good fit, they'll come on board. But their job in the tribe in that area, to me, is to kind of keep the tribe more stable, to not be helter-skelter chasing the bright and shiny. And there's people that in that particular area are out in front, like you said, like learning the new stuff, trying it out, dragging it back down to the tribe. And then there's people in the middle that kind of shift back and forth. And that's very, very healthy, I think. It's just when we get too much stuck or too much out ahead or no leaders at all that we get in trouble. Some of my pet theory.
Thank you very much.
That was really fun. Thanks for bringing that forward, Noreen.
Thank you, Noreen. I wanted to, there was one sentence that you said, and I want to amplify it. It's really precious to me, and I love you very much. I feel the resonance in communicating if an experience, if a certain way of being together, if engagement or a certain creativity is precious to you, that there can be people in our worlds that are precious holders. And I feel like that's one of the things that you do for me and with me, is you are aware of that which I hold precious. I mean, I bet if you sat down and you made a list of the things that Rick holds precious, it would match up with mine.
Pretty well, anyway.
And yeah, I'm sure there would be facets of it that would come to me in a moment, or you to a moment. But it's one of the things that my intention with these circles and the emotional freedom circles that we have is that there is that I know how precious Noreen's family is to her. And I've heard it, I feel it, I've known it over the years. And so there's a resonance and a holding of that. And also that it's sometimes really hard. The things that are precious to us aren't necessarily easy to be with. And I think that the more that we can get to a place where what is precious to us and the experiences and the people can know that with freedom, with safety, with respect, and the authentic knowing of the tenderness in our heart. The time with my kids is precious, and they know it. I want them to know it. They probably don't get it as fully as it is true for me, but I'm dad, So, thank you, and Cindy, I think you're going to have to see if you can unmute yourself. There we go. Yay. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sydney.
What's alive for you?
I've just been reading so much about trauma and healing, and I keep reading over and over about the importance of being present with others who can hold space for you when you're bringing forth those things that have been traumatic in the past. And so I just feel like I have to be present in order to heal. It's just that realization. And I want to bring my presence more in the world. That's why I raised my hand. This is me being present to all of you. And that's all. Just so glad to be here. I love this group. I feel seen and held and precious myself here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Noreen's waving.
Noreen's waving. Hold on. Noreen, did you have something?
Yeah, just after what Cindy was saying, I remembered this little statement that I painted. It was through like the Artist's Way or something like that. And it was treating yourself as a precious object will make you strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Noreen. And Izzy.
Hi.
Hello. It is precious for me to see you. It feels like forever. Are you in where in the world are you right now?
I'm in the Cayman Islands. I'm back
Okay.
at home for the moment. So it's so nice to be able to be somewhere where I can catch up with everyone and hear everyone's stories and hear what is precious to everybody else. And I so appreciate, Noreen, your last phrase. That was beautiful because that was what was coming up for me. And Cindy, yours too. I'm at a phase where I am trying to understand what it means to make myself precious to me. You know, the most precious thing is me. So I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of reading, a lot of contemplation, and just understanding the idea of me and who I am. And the title of the event, Growing What is Precious to Me. You know, I came up with all the usual stuff, but then I realized that at the core of it, what is precious to me is me. But the question is, how does one express that? You know, what does that even look like? And I was thinking, you know, I wish I had a role model or, you know, somebody around me or people around me who consider themselves precious to themselves, you know, who actually act in that way. I feel like it's almost like a state of being to be that way towards yourself, which means then you can radiate that out to the rest of the world. So I feel for me that's the root. I just don't know what form it takes. But then I thought, okay, because I realized that of all the people surrounding me, I don't think that I could put my finger on someone who believes themselves to be precious in my entire life. I don't think I've come across that. And so I just wonder how it is to embody that. You know, how do you embody that when you don't know what it is really? You know, and it's not really coming from a place of trauma. Sorry, I get very emotional. I didn't. Yeah, I'm going to apologize for crying, but it's not coming from a place of trauma. But how is it? I don't know. People around me don't know. But how do we? But it's such a wonderful way of being. It's the truth of everything that we are. If we can hold ourselves precious and see ourselves precious in this great universe, if we could understand that's what it is, then it's a game changer. Everything changes. Your entire perspective changes. And what's important changes. And I wonder how one could embody that, you know, day to day. Sorry, does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know.
Can I reflect back to you?
Yes.
As you talk about the question, how do you embody that? I feel the innate preciousness in that intention to take that which is who we are, who you are, and bring it into form, and bring it out into your perspectives and your radiation. You said radiate. And that sense of wonder, I'd love it if we were already there. And there's some magical thinking. I think that there were certainly times when we were more embodied, but we live now. And so the question to me, how do I embody that? If I take that in, that feels like that tunes me to something that's precious. How do I embody that? How do I radiate that? The perspective changes that you talked about. Like, what perspective am I looking at the world? Is there a different perspective that would be from that which is holding itself precious as a part of what is happening and what is to come? Does that feel like it captured some of what you're...
It does, and I think you're right. As soon as you say, how do I embody that being precious, I feel that a change occurs. It's like an energetic change. As soon as you ask yourself that question, there's a shift in whatever it is that you're looking at or whatever it is you're experiencing. There's just a shift in the energy. And so perhaps that's what the answer is, in order to embody it is to have that awareness in every circumstance and in the moments that one remembers, how do I embody my most precious self in this instant? And then that it's a question, it's being comfortable with not knowing exactly what the answer is to that question, right?
Yeah, just that.
Yeah.
just not knowing.
Just not knowing, but just knowing that it's trying to find ways and people and examples and, am I doing it right? Or so.
There was I think her name is Shauna Porter. There's a book that I'm reading by her that is talking about like addressing an environment of harassment and unsafety, and how do we bring safer spaces, even to places like venues and festivals and bars and streets and other things. And she says that, if you're embodying this, you won't know. You may have some things, some words that kind of come a little easier because now you've heard them and you've practiced them and the like, but you won't know. And afterwards you won't know. And you won't know that you did it right, but you're part of embodying an intention to live in a world that has safer spaces, live in a world where people that are exposed to certain things that are hurtful or triggering, abusive, can hear and know that we don't feel that, we know that that's not okay. That's not the space that we're co-creating. That's not the space we want to hold and be a part of and nurture. And so that when you talk about what's precious, how do I embody that? I do not know how to be, for certain, a safe, big male-bodied person in my dance, in the circle. I don't know. But the question of how do I embody that a bit more? How do I grow that? It's precious. It is really precious to me. Safer spaces are really precious to me. And so to hold that is tender. Whatever we're holding precious has a tenderness and a longing with it for me.
Well, my thought about this is, I've been exploring a lot around this, is sometimes we have to step in, just like we were talking about Noreen. We don't always know. We have to step in and try and learn. So I love the analogy, GPS can't tell us which way to go unless we start moving. So like I'll sit there and it says go east. I'm like, I don't know which the way fuck east is. I'm like, ah. But if I start moving, it will say, oh, idiot, turn
East is
around.
to the right.
Or like it depends on how your car is facing. So like, and I don't keep north up anyway. So for me, I'm like, I don't know which way to go. But if I start driving, it will correct. And sometimes we have to actually, I think that so much of life is having to step in the muck and go, well, this muck is deeper than that muck. I don't think I'm going to keep going this direction. Or I think there's a piece of dry land there. I'm going to try to make it there. And we're not always right. And if we have the resiliency to say, wow, that was a clusterfuck. And I survived and I learned, like, if I see little eyes peeking up, those are probably alligators. Don't go that way. I think we're so much, I really do think media does this because we see these movies where people just like elegantly do this thing the first time. And that's not life. They probably did. They had a stunt double and 30 takes and like, they filmed bits of it, but like where our brain thinks we should be that good. And that's not what life looks like. Life looks like, oh my God, I just stepped into cow shit, like up to my nose, and this is not good. I should try to avoid this in the future. So like, I really do think so much of this holding space, like when I was doing the meditation, like I've noticed this more and more about myself. There's part of my brain going, you're not doing a good job. This is really bad. You should not do this. Who do you think you are to do this? And maybe that never goes away, but I can just say, well, thank you. And these people showed up and they're not throwing things yet or asking me to stop. So I'm going to share what love I have, the best way that I can feel in this moment. And I'm going to ask the universe to let me be of service to people. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe it's one of those cow shit moments where everyone's like, dear Lord, is she done yet? And we don't really know. We get feedback from people, but people are nice. People don't want to hurt our feelings. People, whatever it is, like, we're never really sure what we're doing. We just have to have good intentions and learn as best we can. So I think part of what you said really touched me about, like, there's not role models out there living as if we are precious. We don't see that, and humans learn so much. Our mirror neurons, and we like see what other people do, and then we do it. We experience that energy, but we don't have people really modeling that around us. And so we're the first explorers. We're the Lewis and Clark or whatever going through and going, I think the swamp only goes like a little bit. You want to try it? Like, okay. And we don't know. And maybe it's like the other side is this beautiful meadow that we would have never seen if we hadn't gone through. And maybe it's like, oh, this was a really bad idea. And we don't always know until like 2 years later down the road, or 20 years. But
5.
Or 5, yeah. So for me, it's just like, hey, universe, please let me be of service. Please let me build connections with people and add value. And, I'm going to just do the best I can and hope that it works out. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that helps, but just when you were talking about that just really struck me. It's something I've been really struggling with because I really always thought there'd be this map. If I was a good enough person or clear enough, it would be really obvious. And there are times when it's like, you will do this. And I'm like, this doesn't look like a good idea. And there's like, yep, you're going to do it. I'm like, okay. But a lot of times it's like, I guess this might work. And try it out. And then that's like, I get to change my mind. I get to say, wow, the shit is getting too deep. I am turning around. I do not want to do this. Or I'm going to go a different direction.
I guess the thing with that as well that I've been thinking of in that context is the idea of living lightly and choosing lightly, because I tend to choose wholeheartedly full bore. Yeah. And so by the time I realize I'm in the shit, I'm in it up to here and there's no getting out of it. But it takes so long to untangle and get out of. And so, yeah, I guess it's experimentation and I mean, and just understanding even the question of, how to embody what is precious. I mean, life is short, so whatever that looks like in the moment is what is right, and whatever choices we make in that moment with that intention is what's right then. You know, it might turn out to be crap in about 20 minutes, but that's what we had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you, your contribution. And Gail and David, thank you for raising your hands. I'd love to hear what you have in mind if you want to share it on the event page. I want to hold the container to the 1 hour. That's what we set for the time. And so I'd like to come back together. We've heard from others. Coming back into ourselves, into our skinosphere, our heart field, and tuning into what's precious for you.
And I'd just like to invite you, with every beat of your heart, notice that it's nourishing this beautiful energy that's now in every cell of your body that you become more aware of. So I like to imagine that each beat of my heart lets it be a little brighter inside me, a little more alive.
Thank you all. Greatly appreciate your presence, your vulnerability,
Courage.
your emotional exchange, energy exchange. And I offer a knowing that you're not alone in your desire for what's precious to you, that there is energy of support. And if you want to share something privately with Cathy and I, support at thrivingnow.com just comes to the two of us. She's Cathy at theintimacydojo.com, and I'm also Rick at thrivingnow.com if you'd like to share with one of us. The event page too has a place where, for those of us that want to share into the we space, that's an important part of the engagement. There's a place for comments there and sharing. And this continues. If it's the type of thing, if you're one of our guests today, welcome and thank you. And if you'd like to be a part of our regular circle meetings, you can learn more and you are invited. thrivingnow.com/circle. Thank you, Cathy, once again for co-creating with us and offering so much of yourself, embodying what's precious.
Sending love to you. Thank you for your courage and your willingness to explore this. And Rick, thank you for this space.
Okay. I'm going to unmute everyone in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Big virtual hug.
You're all precious.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're all precious.
Nice to be with you all.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Take care.
Yes.
you.
Welcome to the Rising 20s.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.